Quick look at some of the other big stories on the show today. Good news for ChatGPT users in India. OpenAI has announced this morning that ChatGPT Go, the budget 399 rupees per month plan, will be free for us in India for a limited time period starting the 4th of November. Existing Go subscribers will also get 12 months free, the company said, with redemption details to be shared later. The company is offering this plan to coincide with its Dev Day exchange event in Bengaluru. The move comes even as OpenAI is gradually expanding its on-ground presence in India. The landfall process of severe cyclonic storm Monta has begun off the Andhra Pradesh coast, and it will continue for the next 3 to 4 hours. Andhra Pradesh's chief minister is monitoring the situation live from Governance Centre. Heavy rain has been forecast for 12 Andhra districts on Wednesday. President Draupadi Murmu is scheduled to undertake a sortie in the Rafale fighter jet at Ambala tomorrow. This will be her second such flight after she took a sortie in the Sukhoi 30 MKI at Tezpur Air Force Station on the 8th of April in 2023. That experience celebrated India's unitary and military prowess, and the upcoming Rafale sortie is anticipated to further symbolize the country's strength, resilience, and the aircraft's importance in securing India's skies. That's it then from me on today's show. But remember, as always, on every story that matters, the buck stops here.
The most coveted invitation in the Indian corporate golf calendar, where top corporates go head-to-head with the finest professional golfers. An exclusive circuit across multiple cities, aspirational, unforgettable. NDTV Golf Pro-Am, India's
Prime Time, presented by Schneider Electric, Smart Home Solutions as studio partner.
Good evening and welcome. The special intensive revision of electoral rolls has been one of the most controversial themes in recent times, particularly ahead of the Bihar elections. But the Election Commission says that it is absolutely imperative that this be done to clean up the electoral system, to ensure that those who deserve to vote get a chance and that those who do not are not on the lists. But with several key poll-bound states, opposition states at the moment, going to elections next year, we take the question on the new revision of the electoral rolls announced yesterday to leaders from these states. What do they say? Is it a fair exercise, or is it a move, as they allege, to target the opposition? Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the programme, in a huge development, the Election Commission yesterday announced the second phase of its Special Intensive Revision, or SIR, of electoral rolls across 12 states and union territories. This encompasses over 51 crore voters. The exercise is set to commence on the 4th of November. It aims to update and purify voter lists by removing duplicates, deceased entries and ineligible names, with draft rolls being published on the 9th of December. But this move has sparked sharp criticism from opposition parties who view it as a corrupt ploy to manipulate elections. Leaders from various parties, including the Congress and RJD, and others have accused the Election Commission of colluding with the ruling BJP to delete millions of opposition-leaning voters. And they point to the example of Bihar, where several arguments have already been made. They argue, the opposition does, that it reverses democracy by letting the government select voters. It lacks transparency, it targets minorities and dissenters. Well, is this true? Is this an opaque conspiracy, or is this in fact a clean-up exercise of the Election Commission, one that's critical? That's what we are looking at this evening. But first, I'm joined by a very special guest, Dr. Shashi Panja, the Trinamool Congress Minister. Bengal, of course, very much in the focus. It goes into elections later on. Ma'am, thanks very much for being with us. One of the questions which have been raised is when this was all being announced by the Election Commission yesterday, shortly before that and shortly after, approximately 500 bureaucrats were transferred out. And the allegation is that the Trinamool wants to ensure that it's got its people in key areas, right, to ensure that when this process takes place, nothing is done which doesn't favor the Trinamool Congress. That's the allegation. How would you respond?
Well, what we would like to say is that Trinamool Congress West Bengal government is a democratically elected government. And of course, it is well within its functions and its rights for good governance or for various execution of the ongoing policies and schemes. They can transfer officials from one district to another district or from one department to another department. This is just a hype which, unfortunately, BJP, which is far away from good governance, is creating. This is an unnecessary controversy that they are making up. We must remember that Election Commission of India has announced the SIR, but has not kicked off the MCC, hasn't. So a elected government can transfer officials, which is a routine exercise happening throughout the year.
So, ma'am, they've written a complaint letter when they say that those who are who have been transferred or in the process of being transferred are those who would have been involved in the SIR, given all the areas that they were posted in. How would you counter that particular?
Is it on a man-to-man basis, or is it by default who is in the chair as the district magistrate? So district magistrate of every district is the DEO for the Election Commission. So how does it matter which man is there in the chair? Whoever is the DM will be the DEO, and the Election Commission will function through them.
So to the larger
this is very
question,
unfortunate.
Sure. To the larger question, ma'am, various opposition parties, including your own party, have had concerns about the SIR process. Are you now willing to accept that it is going to take place? And will the local administration help the Election Commission ensure that it happens properly?
We have repeatedly in the past mentioned that the Election Commission of India, when it thought about the SIR, the intensive revision in June 2025, when they were doing it for Bihar, our only contention then was also that in a democracy, in a democratic country where there are recognized political parties, such discussions could have been taken with all political parties on board. Initially, we used to argue on those lines. Secondly, is SIR is very different. They are holding 2002 or 2003 as the benchmark and mentioning that those are the guidelines that they are following. But this is far different from that exercise which took 2 years that time. Somehow, this time what happened in Bihar or what they're trying to do in Bengal is they seem to be in a desperate hurry for something. So 2 years then and now 2 months just to do an SIR for almost, we have to reach out to 80,000 booths in Bengal to almost 10 crore population. In 4th November, you kick off, and 4th December, every BLO should have then covered the booth.
So I understand what you're saying, that
revision.
Sure, that the time and the speed at which it's been announced and it's being carried out is challenging, is difficult. But do you believe that this is being done as part of a larger conspiracy? For example, members in the Congress have said that. They've said that this is a way of shutting down the opposition, shutting down dissent, is that what the Trinamool Congress also believes?
Yes, the Trinamool Congress is saying this much, that now the onus lies on the voter to prove himself to be a citizen of this country. So it is so very funny. The Election Commission of India has not been entrusted to decide upon the citizenship of the person. It is just to their duties to include or to exclude dead voters, or to sanitize the list so that you don't have duplicate voters. And duplicate voters is something that even Mamata Banerjee had flagged. This is one issue. And secondly, why was this SIR not done in Lok Sabha 2024? Look at the need, look at the emergency. So why was it, if that list was valid and absolutely all right to have a Lok Sabha election in 2024, why is this list now full of errors for forthcoming assembly elections in West Bengal?
So, Dr. Panja, just as a point of clarification, given your concern with the SIR process, is the Trinamool Congress going to go to court to challenge the Election Commission?
No. Let me reiterate that the Trinamool Congress flags the concerns of the people of Bengal. We have reiterated in the past, and I wish to again re-emphasize the fact that no eligible or legitimate voter should be excluded. That is the fight which we will take up aggressively within the constitutional and legal framework. SIR is the backdoor for NRC, we feel. I mean, you just look at this, that Aadhaar, which captures our retina image, which captures our fingerprints, is not a document which Election Commission wishes to accept. Supreme Court has mentioned, but along with Aadhaar, you have to bring in one of those 11 documents. Something you have captured our data. You have so what is the sanctity? This list was fair enough and valid for a Lok Sabha 2024 election, but it is not fair or it is full of mistakes for a forthcoming West Bengal Assembly elections in 2025. And that is the nefarious intent that we smell.
Okay, and that is in fact my final question. You believe that the Election Commission of India is involved in a conspiracy targeting your government in your state?
You see, we never wanted to castigate the Election Commission of India. What we are, just even today, in North 24 Parganas, one of the districts, Pradeep Kaur is a man who committed suicide. And this is and he writes in his suicidal note, it is for NRC SIR. I mean, look at the fear that they have instilled in the people, in the minds. Look at the chaos that they are generating. This is not done. So our questions were directed to Election Commission of India. These were valid questions. I mean, it is a federal system of government. We should all have been on board. And why SIR was not done in 2024? It's a fair question.
Okay.
Why now in a hurry in 2 months? So Election Commission is being questioned, but BJP answers. Why? This is very funny. Why should BJP answer?
Ma'am, the Election Commission has point by point also answered. I've got all their answers in front of me. The Election Commission has clarified every point raised by political parties.
No, have they clarified as to why SIR was not done last year and why the list, the voter list?
No, they've pointed out that phase 1 in Bihar resulted in 0 appeals taking place. They've pointed out on why they need to tackle outdated entries, demographic shifts, etc., etc. They've pleaded with political parties, including yours presumably, to help the process go along. They've clarified that SIR is not linked to specific documents like Aadhaar for core verifications. They're focusing on enumeration forms to avoid misuse or controversy as well. So these are some of the clarifications which they have in fact issued.
These are not clarifications. These are farmans. These are announcements, and you have to obey them. Our questions are still unanswered.
Okay.
We still continue to say that West Bengal, they keep saying that, there are lots of infiltrators, Rohingyas, and Bangladeshis. Now look at these states which are bordering our states of India, which are bordering with Bangladesh. Why is the phase 2 not happening in these northeastern states, which also will have infiltration of Bangladeshi, if going by their argument, and of Rohingyas? Look at the states, the northeastern states bordering Myanmar. So people cannot jump from, one leap from Myanmar into Bengal. You have to go via these states.
Right.
So if you really need to sanitize, then you need to do the voter list exercise in phase 2 for those states too.
Right.
But those states have been kept away. Only Bengal is there
All
in
right.
that list.
Okay,
of-
Dr.
of
Panja, I'm
states
running out of
bordering
time
Bangladesh now.
for this part of the interview with you. I appreciate you joining me and clarifying the position of the Trinamool Congress. I'm going to move on now to my other guests on this. Is this, as some in the opposition allege, some sort of a conspiracy against them, or is this in fact a much-needed process? Besides anybody else, we've got O.P. Rawat, the former Chief Election Commissioner. Always wonderful to have him on the program. We've got Dr. Advocate Arshpreet Khadial of the Congress and Gurprakash Paswan of the BJP. Thank you all very much for being with us. Mr. Rawat, let me come to you first. The key point that the Trinamool Congress and in fact some of the other opposition parties are also mentioning is that the speed with which this is being done is suspicious, and number two, that if it had to be done, why wasn't it done before the general elections? Why is it being done at this juncture? Is there anything that you see which has merit in these arguments?
Vishnu, the problems which cropped up in Bihar, they gave certain lessons to Election Commission, and Election Commissions learned those lessons and revised their SIR guidelines to roll out for these 12 states. You can see that enumeration form can be submitted without any document.
Yes.
So those are the things which have improved. But there are three key issues. One is intensive revision is required only generally when delimitation exercise has been done and this template of electoral roll is not valid. You have to make it afresh. So generally when delimitation used to take place after every decadal census, it was there. But decadal census based delimitation has been frozen for last 50 years. And therefore last intensive revision was conducted in 2003, 2004 like that. After that, there was no change in the template of electoral roll, and therefore Election Commission always decided that summary revision will be good enough. The reasons being touted that lot of errors are there. Absolutely no. Whatever level or status of electoral roll will be today, will be after SIR. There will not be any difference because it all depends on our manpower in the field, our BLOs in the field, our verification process in the field, and the interest shown by our voters in these processes. Like a claim is made that no appeal is filed. Never it will be filed because they don't even know that their names have been deleted. They are out doing their jobs. That is the thing. So we have to ensure that all voters who are legitimately entitled, who are citizens, are included in the electoral roll, and they should be facilitated, and instead of they should be going from pillar to post to get those 11 documents.
Okay,
And
I
Election
understand your
Commission,
points.
after having
Let me
learnt
get
the
a quick,
lessons from Bihar,
sure, I'll come back to you,
SIR,
sir. Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, how would you respond to that?
Okay.
That the process shouldn't be more complicated. This is something which complicates, the process. The process of voting needs to be easier. That despite the clarifications made by the Election Commission, there are questions which remain on this process. How would you respond to that?
No, I think what we need to respond is the one-way communication by Dr. Panja, which we were also forced to listen to. She went, she came, she spoke unchallenged, she just peddling her agenda and attacking the entire process, which is constitutional in nature, which is completely transparent in nature. I think of all the people present here, including Dr. Panja, Mr. O.P. Rawat has the exceptional knowledge of this entire space. But she came and she gave her agenda and it was like a propaganda. But we have to understand that I'm live from Bihar. Bihar underwent through SIR process. The entire procedure was completely transparent. More than 99.9% of people from Bihar, the voters from Bihar, were completely satisfied with it. The district level leaders of the Congress party, the district level leaders of the Rashtriya Janata Dal, they were satisfied with this entire process. But the only problem is that the disconnect which is there. The disconnect which is there in the top leadership, they have absolutely no resonance on the ground. They absolutely have no idea what's happening on the ground. They're just trying to create this fake narrative. Mr. Rahul Gandhi was last seen in Bihar 2 months ago. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is out of scene, and when they face defeat, they will find allegations. They will just manufacture imaginative allegation against the process of election. This is preposterous. This is absolutely without any base, without any sound logic. I think Mr. Rahul Gandhi or Mr. Tejasvi Yadav or anyone for that matter who is opposing SIR must get back to the observations of the Supreme Court of India. It has been heavily argued in the Supreme Court of India, and let me quote you from the verdict of the Supreme Court, that the process of SIR is the prerogative of the Election Commission of India.
Yeah.
Point number one. Point number two, it is being done under the four walls of the Constitution as per the Article 324, 325 and 326. The point is, the fact of the matter is that the protest over SIR is politically motivated. We have to understand that there is a sense of history behind it. It happened during Rahul Gandhi's father's tenure. It happened during Rahul Gandhi's grandmother's tenure. It happened during Rahul Gandhi's great grandfather's tenure as well. So I think any concern, any sort of fear which is being peddled out is nothing but propaganda, is nothing but without any base, without any sound.
Let me get a
logic.
response
and
to
like
that.
the people of Bihar, we are sure that the people of Bengal will also reject and will not accept this baseless and imaginative claims against the constitutional process of SIR.
Arshpreet, respond to that.
Thank you for the question. See, first and foremost, going by what the Bharatiya Janata Party is saying, they say there are duplicate voters. They say there are diseased entries. They say fake voters are there and cleansing is needed. For a second, let's assume what they're saying is true. What the Election Commission of India is saying is true. Then are you also saying that in the Lok Sabha election the last year, crores of fake voters voted? Is that what the Election Commission of India is saying? And given that happened, then the entire election process gets vitiated. Then should there be a re-election? And if this is in reality an issue, then why was nothing done about it? Why was nothing said about it by the Election Commission of India? Now this goes on to suggest the incompetence and failure of the Election Commission of India, that despite seeing it, despite knowing it, nothing was done, nothing was said. And suddenly when the Bihar election was around the corner, then SIR is to be done. We don't understand why, if back in the day in 2003, it could be done in the entire country. Why did it have to be done only in one state where 69 lakh voters have been excluded? Wherein people have been complaining that we are being excluded unnecessarily. Our father, our grandfather, our great-grandfather, our ancestors have been
But
voting.
the fact that it's now being done in many other states?
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
This was phase one which happened in Bihar. I understand the point that you're making, but yesterday they've announced the continuation of this in several other states. Therefore, it is an all-India exercise. It will become one.
The fact of the matter is that why is it being done in bits and pieces when it could be done in entirety in the country?
I think that's an important point. Just hold on. Mr. Rawat, how would you look at that? Can an exercise as large as this be done all at once and possibly before a general election?
Yeah, why not? Because all states have their own election machinery. Election Commission is only guiding from the center. So it can be done throughout the country in one go.
All right. So you believe that there is credibility, there is validity in what the opposition says when they say that the process which is happening now is disjointed?
Actually, I will not dwell into politics, but whatever is being done is with a good cause, that you are revising electoral roll to wean away all the errors in the electoral roll. Only thing is that you should be facilitating the voter rather than burdening the voter with getting the documents and providing those documents. And I think this time, after learning the lessons from Bihar Election Commission, has mellowed down and they have made concessions.
If I may.
Yeah, quickly, Arshpreet, last word to you. Yeah.
See, if what the Election Commission of India is saying right now is to be believed to be true, then that is a big certificate of failure, a big certificate of blunder on the Election Commission of India. That crores of fake voters voted in the Lok Sabha election. The Bharatiya Janata Party then shouldn't have been declared the winner. It shouldn't have been formed. It should not have formed the centre government. And there should be a re-election. And number two, when the matter is sub judice in the Honourable Supreme Court, why this tearing hurry is being shown? Why could we not wait for the Honourable Supreme Court's order to come? Number two, the answers vis-a-vis the SIR done in Bihar are yet to be sought. They are yet to
No, but
to
Ashprit,
come.
on the
And
entire thing being heard in the Supreme Court has also said it's the prerogative of the Election Commission to carry this out.
no, but what if major errors are found out? What if
But
in the
until
coming
such
orders of
time
the
as
Supreme Court-
errors are found out, how can you stop the Election Commission from doing this?
Because
They say it is their constitutional
I'll answer
duty.
your question.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question. How? First of all, can the Election Commission of India, is the Election Commission of India even competent if after saying that there are lakhs and crores of fake voters and to allow them to vote in the Lok Sabha election wherein the centre government is chosen, can they be trusted with this? Are they even competent to do this? This raises a very big question over the Election Commission of India. We need to reconsider. We need to think about this because this is a very big issue and nothing is being done about that. Nothing is being said about that. The Election Commission of India ought to answer these questions. There's a very last thing. Aland Assembly, a segment wherein the SIT had found out evidence of a centralized operation to delete names of electoral rolls is what we are pressing. And yet there have been no answers vis-a-vis this question. Yet there's been no justification vis-a-vis this question. So we only request the Election Commission of India or the Bharatiya Janata Party, since they've been advocating for them, please tell us the questions that are being posed by the people. The questions that are being posed by the people have not been answered. They have been ignored. And we want the Bharatiya Janata Party to consider what the people are saying. What their
All right, so will there be an answer
answer
which actually comes to the question that you are raising? We'll have to wait and see, but one way or the other, this is a process that is going through. Hopefully it does improve. The process of elections makes it cleaner in our country, and it isn't any of the allegations which the opposition is making, but we're going to have to wait and see. For the moment, I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. We're going to take this. Well, it is controversial. It is, of course, a huge development as well. The Election Commission's announcement of the second phase of its Special Intensive Revision, or SIR, of electoral rolls across 12 states and union territories. It encompasses a whopping 51 crore voters. It's a huge exercise. Will this be fair? Will it be just? Will it be important to clean up and to make our election system better? Or is it part of a larger conspiracy, as some parties in the opposition have alleged? For the moment, from all of us here, good night.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, most stunning true color pro grade camera. Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the true flagship killer.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live. Unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France. In Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
What does the youth of Bihar want in this election? I will dissect and explain.
When it comes to elections, I crunch numbers and tell you what others miss.
Bihar elections, the what, why and how.
I read Bihar politics like no one else.
For over 4 decades now, I have had a ringside view of some of India's biggest elections. This time, I will bring to you the twists and turns of Bihar elections.
Understand the real election dynamics in Bihar. With me on Bihar Battleground.
The ultimate battle for Bihar. NDTV unites the biggest voices, unmissable debates and data discourse. Battleground Bihar on NDTV 24/7.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
The best app to use is the NDTV app.
दुनिया भर में जब भी भारतीय मीडिया की चर्चा होती है तो एनडीटीवी सबसे पहले जिक्र में आता है।
मैं आपका बात से सहमत हूं। उल्टे हम भी जब विदेश जाते हैं, the best app to use is the NDTV app.
The battle for Bihar is on. Bihar on a turning pitch, or captain stays the same.
मजे को दुगुना करना है, मजे को 3 गुना करना है। गाजी, रोहन, दोबारा से।
When it comes to elections, I am a journalist, analyst, commentator, and an advisor.
My point of view is not for the faint-hearted.
Nothing escapes my eyes. Not the leaders, not their agendas, not even the real game of elections.
हम सबको खबर देते हैं, हम सबकी खबर लेते हैं। चुनावों की भी, दावों की भी। बिहार की सोच, बिहार का फैसला।
पत्रकारिता का जो पहलू दिखता नहीं, वो हम दिखाते हैं।
इलेक्शंस की सारी खबरें मेरे साथ।
Watch me cover the Bihar battleground on NDTV 24/7.
We unveil NDTV Golf Pro-Am, India's #1 golf Pro-Am, the course of champions, the conversation of leaders.
What a stellar lineup we have here on the stage of the NDTV World Summit to announce the launch of the NDTV Pro-Am. Arguably India's greatest cricketer, one of India's most distinguished bureaucrats, a top international golfer and also a top Indian pro at the moment. One administrator who's doing more to lift the profile of Indian golf than anyone has in the recent years.
All the top champions, the Tiger Woods, will all come from India in future.
It's great to be here. Golf is growing across the globe and here in India as well.
Whereas now the opportunities are increasing a lot.
Thank you very much for starting golf. We want to thank you.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
I think that's very, very important.
What does the youth of Bihar want in this election? I will dissect and explain.
When it comes to elections, I crunch numbers and tell you what others miss.
Bihar elections, the what,
Why and how?
I read Bihar politics like no one else.
For over 4 decades now, I have had a ringside view of some of India's biggest elections. This time, I will bring to you the twists and turns of Bihar elections.
Understand the real election dynamics in Bihar. With me on Bihar Battleground.
The ultimate battle for Bihar. NDTV unites the biggest voices, unmissable debates and data discourse. Battleground Bihar on NDTV 24/7.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7 with me, Raisha Sehgal, and it has been a power-packed day today. With the Mahagathbandhan releasing its manifesto today, promising one job per family within the next 20 days of forming the government, 2 permanent status and interest waivers for Jivika Didis. But what actually stood out today was the manifesto itself, in which Tejasvi Yadav has clearly taken the center stage, reducing Rahul Gandhi's role to the sidelines. Also from India, in the latest from Cyclone Monta, the landfall has started near the Andhra coast and will continue for the next 3 to 4 hours. Of course, the next 12 to 14 hours are extremely crucial for all coastal regions. But on News Night tonight, our top focus is the new found bonhomie between Pakistan and Bangladesh, wherein Bangladesh's interim head, Mohammad Yunus, has stirred diplomatic unease, but this time he gifted the Pakistan general a book carrying what seemed like a map depicting Assam and other northeast states as a part of Bangladesh. Also on the show, 2 cloud seeding trials were conducted in Delhi today. On the show tonight, we ask, can cloud seeding fix Delhi's toxic air? All that and lots more lined up, but first, the headlines. Cyclone Monta makes landfall just a short while ago. India braces as the storm barrels towards Andhra. NDTV reports along the entire stretch of impact. The disaster response force on full alert in Andhra, Odisha and Tamil Nadu. President Draupadi Murmu all set to fly in a Rafale fighter jet tomorrow at a frontline airbase in Haryana. The flight comes a few months after the Rafale squadron struck deep inside Pakistan during Operation Sindhu. Mahagathbandhan releases its poll manifesto, big promises to youth, women and elderly. Prashant Kishore lands an EC trouble notice to Jan Suraj chief on 2 voter IDs. First cloud seeding trial in Delhi. Delhi government says cloud seeding trial successful. Artificial rain in Delhi soon. All right, we have some breaking news coming in for you at this point of time. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has now ordered the military, the IDF, to carry out powerful attacks in Gaza. This comes after Bibi alleged that Hamas committed a clear violation of the ceasefire deal. Meanwhile, Gaza's government media office has accused Israel of committing 125 violations of the ceasefire since it came into effect on October 10th. But the latest coming in at this point of time is that Israel has announced strikes on Gaza. And the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has clearly said strong, powerful strikes should take place in Gaza. That's the order that he has given to the IDF. And for more on this, my colleague Aditya Rajkal is now joining me live. Aditya, What's more that you can tell us on this? What are the options on the table? Because what we're learning is that the Israeli Prime Minister has ordered strong and powerful strikes in Gaza.
Well, that's right, Raisha. It's a big development coming at this hour, just days after the Gaza peace deal and also the Middle East peace summit by Donald Trump, the US president. It does seem that all is not well. Many had, in fact, suspected that this kind of a peace deal after the 2-year-long war is certainly not going to stay for a very long time when there is still a lot of anger. There isn't a settlement on several key issues, political settlement or a military settlement. And now we have a big announcement by the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, from Jerusalem, giving a directive to the Israeli Defense Forces to launch powerful strikes against Gaza, against Hamas in Gaza, in fact. In fact, we could see now that within the next few hours, perhaps as early as first light tomorrow morning, fresh attacks against the Hamas in Gaza. What we believe has happened, that there have been some violations by the Hamas group. They obviously haven't also released all the mortal remains of the deceased hostages, whose mortal remains are still in the Gaza. And apart from that, there have been some sporadic clashes that have been reported with the IDF. On the other hand, the Hamas has refused to, go ahead with the repatriation of the mortal remains that had to take place this evening. And as of now, it does seem that the Gaza peace deal that was achieved by the US President Donald Trump seems to be on hold, seems to have been broken with the launch of these fresh attacks, the directive that has been given by the Israeli Prime Minister. Certainly all not well currently in the Middle East. Is it yet again a Trump failure? Perhaps the next 24 to 48 hours would be very crucial for the future of the Middle East, in particular the Gaza Strip.
Right, Aditya. Of course, the ceasefire was secured on October 10th, but I'm also being joined by our diplomatic correspondent, Guys. He's joining us live from Tel Aviv. Guys, what are you learning from Tel Aviv? Because the latest that I have with me is that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has clearly said that he will be deciding on the next steps after he issued his latest order of strong, powerful strikes in Gaza.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Yes, first we need to emphasize we're more than 2 weeks into this ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, and very clearly Hamas has not fulfilled its obligations under this ceasefire agreement. The fourth clause in the plan presented by President Trump stipulates that within 72 hours of this ceasefire coming into fruition, Hamas must release all the living and deceased Israeli hostages. Hamas has failed to do so, and we still have 15 Israeli hostages being held by Hamas. Now, not only Hamas does not release these hostages, but is also using them very cynically. The IDF earlier today even released video proof of Hamas planting a body in a ditch on the ground and covering the ditch with sand, and then calling the Red Cross to rescue that body, as if that body was not held by Hamas all along. Adding to that, yesterday Hamas was supposed to release another Israeli hostage out of the 13, and instead released remains of an Israeli that was killed in Gaza a long time ago, and Hamas was holding on to some of its body parts. I'm sorry about the very graphic images, but this is the way that it is. But on top of everything, we saw another very serious incident this afternoon with Hamas opening fire on IDF forces. The IDF is not releasing all the information about that incident, but I can remind you that 2 Israeli troops were killed by Hamas fire just last week. Hamas then tried to explain that these Israelis were killed by Hamas operatives that didn't even know about the ceasefire, so Israel obviously has to react.
Right, Guy, you've given us the Israeli perspective. Hamas says, the Gaza's government media there says that Israel has committed 125 violations. Are we now looking at as a sign of punishment that the Israeli Prime Minister may carry out an impact on the humanitarian aid there in Gaza?
Yeah, so we'll need to note that during the previous incident where 2 Israeli troops were killed, Israel wanted to halt the humanitarian aid flow into Gaza and had to go back on its word after an intervention by the U.S., who's trying all its might to keep this ceasefire still intact despite these violations. Obviously, President Trump and the U.S. administration want to see this deal moving forward to the next stages that include also the disarming of Hamas. And we should say Hamas is having none of that. The declarations of Hamas are very clear that it has no intention of disarming. But before we even get to that stage, Hamas needs to fulfill its side of the deal. And the Americans find themselves in a complicated situation. They've signed so many countries into this peace plan, the Qataris, the Turks, the Egyptians, all signatories to this deal. But how do we move forward when we do not even finish the first phase of this deal? And the Americans will have to give some answers to Israel as to where do they draw the line, as to when do they end the ceasefire, or would they keep ignoring these violations by Hamas?
Right, we'll wait and have to see if this decision was taken unilaterally or in tandem with the US President. But thanks Aditya and Guy for getting us the latest right now. All right, in other news, 1 dead, 2 injured in Konaseema due to cyclone impact. Severe cyclonic storm Monta in the Bay of Bengal has started making landfall near Andhra Pradesh's Kakinada, bringing strong winds, heavy rainfall and coastal flooding risks across Andhra Pradesh. And these are the visuals on your screens of the impact of Cyclone Monta. The authorities have opened relief camps, issued safety advisories and suspended train services in the affected regions. But the latest that we are telling you right now is that 1 person has died and 2 injured as Cyclone Monta makes landfall in the coastal regions of Andhra Pradesh. And my colleague Ashish is now joining me live on Newsnight. Ashish, what can you tell us about the impact of the landfall? After the landfall of Cyclone Monta, what we're learning is 1 person has died.
Yes, you're absolutely right. In fact, I was just talking to Konaseema Joint Collector, and she has confirmed that one elderly lady, she died in an unfortunate incident related to cyclone wind and high-speed wind. And the youth, he also suffered injury, and the auto driver, he also suffers injury when a tree uprooted and fell down on his vehicle. So 2 persons have been injured in Konaseema district, where I am right now present. And 1 elderly woman, she has died. She has lost life in this unfortunate incident in Konaseema district. All 3 incidents are related to cyclone and high speed of wind. Right now, the landfall process has started around 8 p.m. today, and it is ongoing process. And what we are expecting that in another hour or so, the landfall process will complete, and then further the administration authorities will visit to all those affected areas as and when they get gather information of any kind of devastation or any kind of tree uprootment or any other casualty details they gather at this control room where I am right now present. Apart from that, what we have learned that in Konaseema district, because landfall location is not far away from this particular district headquarter, Amlapuram is nearby, almost some 20 kilometers away from the location where I am. Their landfall process started, and what we have learned that wind speed has reached over 80 kilometers per hour, and in few areas, particularly in Rozul Mandal, wind speed has been crossed 80 kilometers per hour. That's what report we have received from the district authority.
Right. Thanks, Ashish. You've been tracking this news very closely for us from morning, and we'll of course be tracking Cyclone Monta very closely with you and the after impact of it as well. All right, in other news, Bangladesh and Pakistan have pledged to elevate economic, trade and investment ties to a new strategic level. But that is not the top focus of the show tonight. On Newsnight, we will tell you how Mohammad Yunus, the chief advisor of Bangladesh interim government, has sparked a fresh controversy with a gift that he gave to a senior member of the Pakistan army when the duo met in Dhaka. And those are the visuals on your screens of the gift that Yunus gave to the Pak general. Well, General Sahir Shamsad Mirza, he was gifted a distorted map of Bangladesh, which shows the northeastern states of India as a part of the country. This picture on your screens right now features the cover of a book called Art of Triumph, Bangladesh's New Dawn. This map shows a part of India's northeast as a part of Bangladesh territory, perhaps aligning with calls by radical Islamist groups for a greater Bangladesh. And this latest bonhomie between Bangladesh and Pakistan, of course, comes since Yunus took charge in August 2024. To dissect all of this, we're now being joined by Dr. Brahma Chelani, Strategic Affairs expert. Welcome to NDTV, Dr. Chelani. First up, of course, what is happening in Bangladesh? What is the intent here? Because on one hand, Bangladesh's interim chief advisor gifts this distorted India map to the Pak general, and on the other, a red carpet for anti-India hate preacher Zakir Naik, not just for 1 day or 2 days, but for a month.
There are several developments happening in relation to Bangladesh, in addition to the repression and the human rights abuses that have become rampant under Yunus's rule in Bangladesh. First is the cozy relationship that Bangladesh is establishing with Pakistan. This marks a significant shift in regional geopolitics. And then you have Yunus himself pandering to Islamists. This book was an officially sponsored book meant to celebrate last year's so-called movement that toppled the Hasina government. And this book on the map, on the cover, has a very provocative map, a map that actually depicts the concept of Greater Bangladesh. The concept of Greater Bangladesh has been propagated by Islamist groups, and the presentation of the map on the cover of the book is widely seen as a deliberate, calculated endorsement of this concept of territorial expansionist Bangladesh. India naturally views this concept as a grave threat to its national security and sovereignty. And one other thing that we have to keep in mind is that this is not an isolated incident. There have been repeated references in public domain to the concept of Greater Bangladesh by close associates of Muhammad Yunus. In fact, Yunus himself, some months ago, referred to India's northeast being landlocked, calling Bangladesh, quote unquote, the only guardian of the ocean. This was widely seen as underscoring the Greater Bangladesh narrative. So all this is creating new strains in Bangladesh-India relations.
Right, Dr. Chelani. I'm afraid we're running out of time, but thank you for getting us the latest on that. And on that, we slip into a very short break. Come right back. Lots lined up for you.
In Bihar, बहुत पॉलिटिक्स है।